My family found my cabin address and broke in with 20 relatives for a party. I only found out after Mom called about a fire that almost burned the place down. When they told me to send help, I sent the police. I'm 30 male single and apparently the family's disappointment because I drive a truck instead of sitting in an office. My older sister Caroline got her Master of Business Administration funded by Mom and Dad. My younger sister Diana got her wedding paid for plus the down payment on her starter home. I got a card that said, "We're proud of you." When I got my commercial driver's license, did the math once. Between the two of them, my parents dropped about $180,000 on education, weddings, cars, and bailouts. Me. I got a $50 gift card to Applebee's for my 25th birthday. So I saved. Every paycheck, 45% went straight into an account they didn't know existed. Lived on truck stop food and whatever I could microwave in the sleeper. Wore the same 3 pairs of jeans until the knees blew out. Drove routes nobody else wanted because they paid better. Christmas bonuses, tax returns, every extra dime went into that account. Spent years watching my family treat me like the backup plan. The one who'd always be available because what else was I doing? Helping them move. Free labor whenever they needed it. Never got invited to the important stuff. Just the stuff that required heavy lifting. Caroline's wedding cost $40,000. Full catering. Destination venue. Photographer who charged more per hour than I made in a day. I wasn't in the wedding party. I was there to help set up chairs the day before. Diana's wedding was another $35,000. I helped move gifts afterward. Neither of them offered to pay for gas. When Caroline bought her first house, Dad handed her $30,000 for the down payment. When I asked if there was anything saved for me, Mom said, "Well, honey, you're so independent. You don't really need help, do you?" Christmas was always the worst. Caroline would get designer bags and jewelry. Diana would get cash and gift cards worth hundreds. I'd get a sweater from Target and maybe a gift card to some truck stop chain. Now let me tell you about that cabin. I found it in Montana last November. 20 acres outside Whitefish, old timber frame from 1978. Needed work, but the structure was solid. 3 bedrooms, stone fireplace, creek running through the back. The owner was a widow selling because she couldn't maintain it. Her husband had built most of it by hand, died 2 years back. She wanted it to go to someone who'd respect it, asking $195,000. Place needed updates. Kitchen appliances from the 80s, some rotted deck boards, plumbing that worked but needed work. But the frame was good. Hand-cut timber beams, stone foundation, roof that just needed some shingles replaced. I could see what it could be. Offered $185,000 cash, close in 3 weeks. The widow looked at me like I was messing with her. "Nobody pays cash anymore," she said. I showed her the bank statement. She started crying. Said her husband would have liked me, that I reminded her of him. Hardworking, practical, knew the value of building something yourself. She took it. Used my buddy Ray from my trucking days as my real estate contact. Ray was mid-40s, former driver who'd gotten into real estate after his back gave out. He got the road life and he wanted something permanent. He helped me with the paperwork while I was on a haul to Portland. Signed everything on my phone from a truck stop in Wyoming. Wired the money from my phone sitting in a Pilot parking lot at 2 a.m. eating a microwave burrito. Account went from $197,000 to $12,000 in one transaction. Closed December 18th. Drove straight there for my last delivery. Got to the cabin around midnight in a snowstorm. Walked through my own front door for the first time with a duffel bag and some energy drinks. Slept on the floor in my sleeping bag because I didn't have furniture yet. Woke up to sunlight coming through the windows, looking out at my own 20 acres, and nobody to tell me what to do with it. Told exactly 2 people. Ray, because he helped me close the deal. And Tommy, my dispatcher at the trucking company, because he needed to know where to send my W-2s. Tommy was a straight shooter ex-military guy who ran dispatch like a tight ship. Both of them got why I kept it quiet. They'd met my family at a barbecue 3 years back. Watched my mom spend 20 minutes talking about Caroline's promotion without asking me a single question about my life. Spent the next 7 months fixing the place up between hauls. New roof, fixed the plumbing, replaced the rotting deck boards, did most of it myself, hired local contractors for what I couldn't handle, paid cash for everything, kept my mouth shut. The plan was to tell them at Christmas, bring Mom and Dad up first, just the 2 of them. Let them see what I built without their help. Prove the disappointment son actually had his life together. Maybe get a real, "we're proud of you." That plan went sideways on July 9th. I was 3 hours outside Bozeman hauling construction equipment when Mom called. The phone rang, her name popping up on the dash. Answered it because I figured someone died. That's usually why she calls midweek. Hugo. Oh, thank God. Hugo, we need you right now. Her voice had that panic edge that usually means she screwed up and needed me to fix it. What happened? There was a fire at your cabin. We're all here, and there was an accident with the grill, and part of the deck caught fire, and the kitchen has smoke damage, and my brain stopped working. What the heck are you doing at my cabin? Silence? Then your cabin, honey. Caroline found the address in your mail when we were at your apartment last month getting your old furniture. We thought it was so sweet that you bought a family vacation spot and didn't tell us because you wanted it to be a surprise. So we planned a big family reunion weekend, and you broke into my property. We didn't break in. Sweetie Dad called a locksmith. We've been here since Thursday celebrating, and today Uncle Paul was grilling, and the propane tank had a leak, and it flared up and caught the deck, and we tried to put it out, but I hung up. Pulled over on the shoulder, doing about 80 and a 65. Hands shaking so bad I almost clipped a guardrail. Called Tommy. Tommy, I need emergency time off. Family emergency. What happened? My family broke into my cabin and burned it down. He was quiet for 3 seconds then. Geez, take whatever time you need. I'll reroute the load. And Hugo, get a lawyer. It took me 4 hours to make it to the cabin. Broke every speed limit between Bozeman and Whitefish. The whole drive, my brain was running numbers on how badly they could have destroyed the place. How much it would cost to fix, how they thought this was okay. Kept replaying Mom's voice. The casual way she said, your cabin. Like she'd known about it all along. Like I'd be fine with them breaking in. My hands were shaking on the wheel. Had to pull over twice to calm down before I did something stupid like wrap my truck around a tree. Second time I stopped, I sat in a rest area parking lot and just breathed. Looked at photos of the cabin on my phone from when I'd first bought it. Reminded myself what I was dealing with. Turned onto my property around 7 p.m. Counted 7 vehicles. Mom's sport utility vehicle. Dad's truck. Caroline's sedan. Diana's sport utility vehicle, Uncle Paul's recreational vehicle, Aunt Nayan's van, and some cousin's car. I didn't recognize 20 people from what I could see. Kids running around with sparklers, music playing from someone's Bluetooth speaker, the smell of charcoal and smoke thick in the air. The deck I'd rebuilt by hand was half-charred black and warped. The kitchen window was blown out, glass everywhere. Smoke stains ran up the outside wall. Someone had set up tents in my front yard like they were camping. There was a portable grill that wasn't mine, coolers everywhere, cans all over the grass, trash bags piled by the trees overflowing. Someone had hung a banner between 2 trees. Havel Family Reunion 2024. Parked my truck and got out. The whole family turned to look at me like I was crashing their party, which I guess I was. Mom rushed over, first eyes red. Hugo, honey, we're so sorry. We were going to surprise you, but then the accident happened and we're all so upset and we've been trying to clean up, but get the heck off my property. She stopped like I'd slapped her. What? Everyone off my property now. Dad walked over, drink in hand, trying for the reasonable father voice that always meant he was about to gaslight me. Son, let's talk about this. It was an accident. We'll help pay for the repairs. We were just trying to do something nice, and you broke into my freaking house, Arthur. His face went red. We didn't break in. We had a locksmith open it. And you should have told us you bought this place. It's the perfect family spot, and we thought you wanted us all to enjoy it together. And he paid a locksmith to drill my lock like it was his place, I said, looking at everyone. Nobody asked permission. You just decided you had the right. I stepped past him, walked toward the cabin. The front door was wide open. Music and voices coming from inside through my windows. In my house, Caroline came out holding a drink, ice clinking in the glass. She always treated me like the help. Married to a guy who worked in finance and looked at me like I was beneath him. Hugo, calm down. We're family. What's the big deal? It's just a little smoke damage. Insurance will cover it. We were actually doing you a favor by breaking the place in, and you destroyed my property. Oh, please, it's not destroyed. Stop being dramatic. We've been having an amazing weekend, and honestly, we thought you'd be happy we were all enjoying the cabin you bought. Instead, you're being selfish and ruining what's left of our family time. I walked past her into my cabin. The kitchen was trashed. Smoke damage covered the walls and ceiling in black streaks. The cabinets I'd painted by hand, spent 3 weekends getting the color right, were charred. Doors hanging crooked, some burned through. The window above the sink was blown out. Glass everywhere. Fire extinguisher empty on the counter. Foam all over everything. Would need complete replacement. The stove had scorch marks. The refrigerator was unplugged, door hanging open, everything inside spoiled. They'd unplugged it to plug in their cooler, found the cooler on the deck still full of their drinks. The living room had bottles and cans everywhere. Someone had moved my furniture around, wet towels on my recliner, muddy footprints on the $300 rug I'd bought 2 months ago. The bedrooms were worse. Someone's kids had been in my room, toys everywhere, juice stains on my bedsheets. My bathroom had their toiletries all over, wet towels piled on the floor. I was watching the whole thing, trying not to get a heart attack. Then I walked back outside where the entire family was gathered in a defensive cluster, watching me like I was the problem. Diana was on her phone. Uncle Paul was trying to look authoritative. Aunt Nain was crying. The kids were still running around. Everyone needs to leave right now or I'm calling the cops. Diana laughed. That fake laugh. You're not calling the cops on your own family, Hugo. Just relax. We'll clean everything up tomorrow and chip in for repairs and it'll be fine. You're overreacting like you always do. You broke into my house. You destroyed my property. You still got the nerve to speak. Get the heck out of here now. Uncle Paul stepped forward. Big guy used to being the family authority. Hugo, your mother told us you bought a cabin and we thought it would be nice to all get together and enjoy it. We didn't know you'd be so possessive about it. Did anyone ask me? Silence? Did a single one of you call me and ask if you could come here? More silence. My mom started crying harder. Diana rolled her eyes and went back to her phone. Caroline sat down her drink. Look, we're sorry about the fire. Okay, but you're being incredibly rude right now. We drove all the way out here to celebrate as a family, and you're treating us like criminals. This is exactly why nobody invites you to things. You're always so negative, and because you are criminals. You entered my property illegally and caused thousands of dollars in damage. Pulled out my phone, started taking pictures, the burned deck, the blown out window, the smoke damage, every bottle and can and piece of trash and broken thing. Documented everything while they stood there watching. Got video of the interior damage, the toys in my bedroom, the clogged toilet, the foam residue, all of it. Hugo, what are you doing? Mom asked, voice shaking. You'll see. Then I called 911. The sheriff's deputy who showed up was a guy named Dobrinsky. Mid-40s, looked tired. I met him at the edge of the property before he got swarmed. You, Hugo Havel? Yeah, I own this property. Those people entered without my permission, hired a locksmith to break my locks and caused fire damage. He looked past me at my family who were gathered near the burned deck. That your family? Unfortunately. He almost smiled. Let's start with the basics. Then he asked me some questions. Do I own the property? Do they have permission to be there? Never told them I bought it, never invited them. They found the address going through my mail and decided to throw themselves a party. Dobrinsky nodded, pulled out his notepad. Okay, let me get statements. I watched him talk to my parents first, then my sisters, then uncle. Took him about 40 minutes to interview everyone while I stood by my truck, documenting more damage on my phone. Also documented their portable grill, the one that started the fire. Propane tank with a damaged valve. Dobrinsky came back. Your family claims they thought you wanted them here, that your sister found the address, and they interpreted that as an invitation. Breaking into someone's house isn't an invitation. I agree. Here's the situation. Some of this is civil property damage, but trespassing and breaking and entering can be criminal charges if you want to pursue it. It's your call. I do. He looked at me for a long moment. You're sure this is your family? They destroyed my property and didn't ask permission. Yeah, I'm sure. All right. He walked back to my family, had a conversation I couldn't hear. My mother started crying harder. My sisters looked like they wanted to kill me. Dad's face was purple. Dobrinsky came back. I've informed them they need to leave immediately and that you'll be filing a formal report. I've documented the scene. You'll need to come to the station tomorrow to give an official statement. I'm also calling the fire marshal to document the fire damage for the report. What about the damage? That's civil. You'll want to document everything, get repair estimates, and probably talk to a lawyer if you're planning to sue for damages. I am. He handed me his card. Come by tomorrow morning. My family loaded up their vehicles over the next hour. Mom kept trying to approach me, but I walked away every time. Dad looked like he wanted to throw a punch, but thought better of it with a cop there. Caroline made sure I heard her tell Diana that I was dead to her. The kids were crying because they had to leave. Uncle Paul was muttering about family betrayal. Aunt Nain looked at me like I'd kicked a puppy. By 10 p.m., they were gone. Dobrinsky left last along with the fire marshal, who documented the deck and kitchen damage. After everyone left, I walked through my cabin in silence. The place I'd spent 11 years saving for the property I'd fixed up by hand, destroyed because my family thought they were entitled to anything I owned. Called Ray around midnight. I need a lawyer. Good one. What happened? Explained the whole thing. He was quiet for a minute then. Man, I know a guy. Property litigation specialist. He's not cheap, but he's a shark. Want me to send you his number? Yeah. Hugo, I got to ask, you really want to sue your own family? Ray, they broke into my house and burned it down. What would you do? I'd sue them into next year. I'll text you the lawyer's info. Spent the night in my truck. Couldn't sleep in this cabin with the smoke smell everywhere and my family's destruction staring at me from every surface. Sat in the sleeper cab, looking at my property through the windshield. Made a list on my phone of everything that needed fixing, everything they'd broken. The list hit 2 full pages before I stopped writing. Didn't sleep much, maybe 2 hours total. Kept thinking about them laughing and drinking and using my stuff like it belonged to them. Morning came cold and gray. Made instant coffee on my portable burner. Sat on the tailgate watching the sun come up over my destroyed property. Ray called around 7 a.m. Met with the lawyer on Monday morning. His name was Frank, 60 years old. Guy looked like he'd been destroying people in court for 40 years. Laid out everything. The documents, the photos, the videos, the police report, the fire marshal's report, the repair estimates I'd gotten over the weekend, kitchen repair deck, rebuild, smoke remediation, and repainting broken windows, damaged furniture and belongings, stolen food and supplies, new locks and security system, lost wages from missing work. Total $45,400. Frank went through everything, making notes, occasionally looking up at me over his reading glasses. Finally set down the papers. This is pretty straightforward. Trespassing, property damage, breaking and entering using the locksmith. The fire marshal's report confirms the propane tank leak. You've got documentation, police report, proof of ownership. They don't have a defense. How long will it take if they fight it? 6 months to a year? If they settle, maybe 3 months. But I have to ask you, are you ready for this? They're going to try to make your life miserable. I've seen this before. Yep, I'm ready. Yep, he smiled. All right, let's burn their world down. The lawsuit hit them on Wednesday. Frank sent certified letters to all 3 defendants, Arthur, Eleanor, and Caroline. Diana wasn't named because technically she didn't organize it. She just showed up, but she'd find out soon enough. My phone started ringing Thursday morning. Ignored the first 10 calls. Let them all go to voicemail. Listened to them later that night sitting in my truck at a rest stop in Idaho. Mom, Hugo, please, you can't sue us. We're your parents. We made a mistake. We thought you'd be happy. Please call us back and let's work this out as a family. Dad, this is ridiculous. You're going to destroy this family over an accident over some smoke damage. Call me back and let's settle this like adults instead of running to lawyers. Caroline, you're a piece of work, Hugo. Suing your own family over a cabin? I always knew you were selfish, but this is a new low. Don't expect to be welcome at any family events ever again. Mom and Dad are devastated. Ignored them all. Tommy called that afternoon. Hey man, how's it going? Filed the lawsuit. They're losing their minds. Good. They earned it. Listen, I've got some runs coming up if you need work. Long haul's good pay. Might be good to stay busy. Keep your mind off this mess. Yeah, send me the routes. Will do. And Hugo, you did the right thing. Got back on the road the following week. Tommy set me up with premium routes, stuff that paid better than my usual hauls. Gave me time to think without having to see the cabin in its destroyed state. It helped. Just me, the truck, the highway, no family drama. Frank texted me updates every few days about the legal stuff. The defendants had hired a lawyer. They were claiming it was a misunderstanding, that they'd tried to contact me but couldn't reach me, that they thought I'd be happy about the family gathering. Complete lies. Frank had my phone record showing no incoming calls from them until after the fire. The repair work started in early August. Had to hire contractors because I couldn't do it myself while working. Took out a loan for $25,000 to cover the immediate costs since my savings were tapped from the original purchase and renovations. Insurance was complicated since I just bought the place and hadn't gotten full coverage yet. Just basic liability. My mistake. But one I'd fix after this was over. Every dollar spent on repairs felt like another reason to push the lawsuit harder. My family started their smear campaign almost immediately. Found out through Ray that Caroline was telling everyone I'd secretly invited them and then changed my mind and sued to get money out of them. Complete lies, but people believed it because it fit their story better than the truth. Diana was posting on social media, constantly crying selfies with captions about toxic family members who value money over relationships. Long posts about how I was destroying the family over an accident, how I wouldn't even talk to them to work it out. Mom was playing the victim at church. Ray's wife went there, heard the whole thing. Mom crying about how she'd raised an ungrateful child who cared more about property than family. The church ladies were horrified, started a prayer circle for her. Dad was telling his side at his veterans hall. Got a lot of support there until someone asked why they didn't just ask permission first. That question didn't go over well. He left early. Caroline started a crowdfunding campaign online. Help a family recover from false lawsuit. Raised about $800 before someone reported it, and it got taken down for being misleading. She blamed me for that too. Didn't respond to any of it. Frank's advice: let them talk. Every word they say publicly is potential evidence of harassment. Document it all but don't engage. Makes them look worse when we get to court. September came with depositions. Had to sit in Frank's office while the defense lawyer, some guy named Miles who looked fresh out of law school, asked me questions on record. Did I have a good relationship with my parents? Had there been previous disputes? Why didn't I tell them about the cabin? Wasn't I being vindictive? Answered everything. No, I didn't have a good relationship with them. I didn't tell them about the cabin because it was mine and they had no right to it. They entered without permission, hired a locksmith to break my locks, and caused $45,000 in damage. I wanted full compensation plus legal fees. The defense lawyer tried to paint me as vindictive and money-hungry. Asked if I was holding a grudge about my sisters getting financial help. Asked if this was really about the cabin or about deeper family issues. Frank objected to half of it. The judge sustained most of the objections, but the implication was clear. They were going to make me the bad guy who destroyed the family over property damage. My parents had to give depositions too. Found out later from Frank that it went bad for them. Arthur admitted they never asked my permission. Eleanor admitted they found the address by going through my mail without asking. Caroline admitted she organized the whole thing and hired the locksmith to open my cabin. Frank called me in October. They want to settle. For how much? Full amount of damages plus your legal fees. $52,000 total. Take it. You sure? We could probably get more if we go to trial. Emotional distress. Punitive damages. I want it done. Take the settlement. Smart? I'll draft the terms. I'm also recommending you file for a restraining order against all 3 defendants. Do it. The settlement came through in November. Wire transfer straight to my account on a Wednesday morning while I was hauling a load through Nebraska. Paid off the repair loan immediately. Covered Frank's fees. Had $16,600 left over. Put half toward the security system upgrade I'd been planning. Saved the rest. Cameras, motion sensors, alarm system tied directly to my phone and the sheriff's department. Frank helped me file for a protection order against all 3 defendants. A week later, the judge signed it. 3-year order against Arthur, Eleanor, and Caroline. They couldn't contact me. Couldn't come within 500 feet of me or my property. Violation meant arrest, not just a fine. Never heard from them directly again. The restraining order made sure of that. But I heard through Ray, who heard through mutual connections, that they were struggling. The settlement had drained their savings. Arthur and Eleanor had to refinance their house to cover it. Caroline and her husband were fighting constantly about money. Diana was bitter that her parents couldn't help with childcare expenses anymore. Good. The cabin repairs finished in early December, just in time for the first real snowfall. It took 4 months total, but it looked better than before. New deck with proper railings, composite boards that wouldn't burn, better kitchen with commercial-grade appliances, stainless steel everywhere, proper ventilation system with a hood that actually worked, walls repainted in the same colors I'd chosen originally. The settlement covered the repair loan and then some. Gave me breathing room I hadn't had in months. The new kitchen had granite countertops I'd upgraded to, installed a dishwasher for the first time, figured I'd earned that, got a gas range. The cabinets were custom built by a local craftsman Pete knew. Better quality than what I'd done myself. Still painted them the same color though, started spending my off days there again, brought up furniture from my apartment, replaced everything they'd ruined. Set up the security system myself with Pete's help. Pete was a local contractor I'd met during the repairs. He'd helped with the deck rebuild, and we'd become friends. 8 cameras covering every angle of the property. Even installed motion-activated lights around the perimeter. The whole setup had cost about $8,000 between the professional install and equipment, but the settlement money meant I could do it right. Nobody was getting in again without me knowing. Tommy came up just before Christmas, helped me move the last of the big stuff. Couch bed frame, new refrigerator. We stood on the deck in the cold, grabbing some drinks, looking at the property covered in fresh snow. "Can't believe they tried to take this from you," he said. "Tried and failed. Heard through the grapevine. Your old man had to pick up side work to cover the settlement. Good. Let him work for once instead of just writing checks for my sisters. Ray came up for New Year's. We built a fire in the outdoor fire pit I'd made away from the cabin, had some drinks. He raised his can to owning your own peace. I'll drink to that. Found out through connections that my family's fallout was ongoing and getting worse. Arthur and Eleanor had to refinance their house at a terrible rate because their savings were wiped out from the settlement, destroyed their retirement nest egg they'd been building for 20 years, had to cancel the cruise they'd planned for their 35th anniversary, couldn't afford the lifestyle they were used to, had to drop their country club membership. Caroline and her husband officially separated in January. The money stress was part of it, but also he'd been furious that she'd organized the whole cabin invasion. Felt like she'd dragged him into her mess. She'd moved back in with my parents, which I'm sure was going great for everyone. Heard she was sleeping in her childhood bedroom at 34, bitter and angry, posting passive-aggressive quotes on social media. Diana's Instagram went from perfect lifestyle content to passive-aggressive posts about family betrayal and financial struggles. Her husband was furious that her parents couldn't help with their second kid like they'd promised. They'd been counting on that free childcare, had budgeted around it. Now they were scrambling for daycare they couldn't afford. The cracks in their perfect marriage were showing. Her posts got darker, more desperate, fewer followers engaging. Uncle Paul blamed my parents for the whole thing. Said they dragged him into it by inviting him to Hugo's cabin without checking if I actually knew about it. Stopped talking to them. Aunt Nyan was still crying about having to pay her share of the legal fees. A cousin started a rumor that I was actually rich and just wanted to bankrupt the family for fun. Heard Caroline was telling people I'd ruined the family, that I was vindictive and cruel, that I cared more about money than relationships. Let her talk. I had my cabin and savings I'd built back up already. She had debt, a failed marriage, and had to live with our parents at 34. Different priorities, started building the life I'd actually wanted. Met more locals through Pete. Regular guys who didn't care about family drama or expect favors. Pete introduced me to his crew. Guys who worked construction, hung out on weekends, got that. Sometimes you just need space that's yours. We'd work on projects together when I was off the road, tackle whatever needed doing, built a proper shed on the property to store tools and equipment. Took us 3 weekends, but we did it right. Proper foundation and everything. Expanded the deck to wrap partway around the cabin. Gave me more space to sit out and watch the sunsets. Installed a generator backup system that could run the whole cabin for a week if the power went out. Pete knew an electrician who gave me a good price, did the work clean and to code. He'd come up when I was around. We'd work on whatever project was next. He taught me better carpentry, showed me how to do crown molding and proper mitered corners. In return, I'd help him with side jobs when I had time, made some extra cash that went right back into cabin improvements. Pete got the appeal. Sometimes you just need a place that's yours. No explanations, no obligations. Exactly. March brought the first signs of spring. Snow-melting creek, running high and loud, everything waking up. Took a full week off work and spent it at the cabin doing nothing productive. Read books I'd been meaning to get to for years. Cooked actual meals, not just truck stop garbage. Grilled steaks on the new deck. Made fresh coffee every morning. Sat outside in the cold watching the sun come up over the mountains. Went fishing in the creek. Caught some trout. Nothing huge, but big enough to eat. Pan-fried them with butter and garlic. Ate them while watching the sunset. It felt earned. Everything up here felt earned now. Thought about where I was a year ago. Thought about everything that had happened. The invasion, the fire, the lawsuit, all of it. Felt good about every decision I'd made. No family drama, no obligations, just me and the life I'd built and defended. 5 months after the settlement, on a Tuesday afternoon in late April, I was staining the new deck when a car pulled up my driveway. The gate was open because I was expecting a lumber delivery. Recognized the car immediately. Diana's white sport utility vehicle. The security system alerted me before she made it halfway up the drive. Checked the camera feed on my phone. She was alone, no kids looking rough. Set down my brush and walked to meet her at the top of the driveway. She got out slowly. Hugo, can we talk? You need to leave now. Please, just 5 minutes. I drove 3 hours to get here. I need help. Diana, there's a restraining order against Mom, Dad, and Caroline. You're not covered by it, but you're still trespassing on my property. I'm asking you once to leave. She started crying. Actual tears that looked like they'd been building for months. Hugo, I'm desperate. Mom and Dad won't help anymore. They can't afford it. Caroline's barely talking to me because she blames me for not stopping you from suing. My husband and I are drowning. The medical bills from the second kid are crushing us, and the house payment is 3 months behind, and I just need money. $20,000, I'll pay you back, I swear. We're about to lose the house and my husband's talking about divorce and I don't know what else to do. Should have thought about that before you invaded my property. That wasn't my fault, I just came along. I didn't organize it. I didn't hire the locksmith. I didn't know. You knew. You all knew. And none of you asked permission. You just assumed you could take whatever you wanted from me because that's how it's always been. She wiped her face with her sleeve, leaving a wet streak. I get it. Okay, we screwed up. Okay, we shouldn't have come here without asking. But this is different. I'm your sister. I'm begging you. Your kids need parents who take responsibility instead of always expecting handouts. You know what I was doing at your age? Living in a truck and saving every dollar. Working routes nobody else wanted. Eating garbage food so I could build something. And you got a wedding? A house down payment, free childcare from mom and dad, and you still can't make it work. Her face shifted from desperate to angry, the mask slipping. You're really going to let your niece and nephew suffer because you're holding a grudge. I'm going to let you figure out your own problems like I had to figure out mine. 11 years of being treated like the family disappointment while you got everything handed to you. And when I finally built something for myself, you thought you could just take it. It was a mistake. It was entitlement. Now I'm going to ask you one more time to leave my property. After that, I'm calling Deputy Dobrinsky and having you removed for trespassing. She stood there shaking, breathing hard. You're not the brother I knew. You never knew me. You just knew the version that was useful. You've got 30 seconds to get in your car. Started counting out loud. She got the message at 15. Practically ran to her sport utility vehicle, hands shaking as she started the engine, sat there for a second like she might say something else. I pulled out my phone, brought up Dobrinsky's number where she could see it. She peeled out, throwing gravel tires spinning. The gate closed automatically behind her. Watched the dust settle on my driveway, then went back to staining the deck. The wood needed 3 coats, had to be done right. Pete showed up an hour later with the lumber for the shed expansion. Noticed the fresh tire marks. Someone just leave in a hurry. My sister showed up begging for money. What did you say? Gave her 30 seconds to leave before I called the sheriff. He nodded and grabbed his tools. Good. Some people need to learn consequences exist. We worked until sunset building something that would last. When we finished, he cracked open 2 sodas from his cooler, and we sat on the new deck watching the light fade over the mountains. This is a good place, Hugo said. Worth protecting. Yeah, it is. The cabin was quiet that night, just the sound of the creek running high with snowmelt, the wind through the pines, the creak of the new deck boards settling. My phone buzzed. Text from Tommy. Got a premium route for you next week if you want it. Portland to Boston? Excellent pay. Replied. I'm in. Send the details. Slept that night better than I had in years. Life was good. I had my peace, I had my property, and I had the satisfaction of knowing I'd won. That was enough.